NFTs are blowing up right now. But the thing is, most people talking about them don't actually know what they're talking about. This is what you need to know if you're gonna get into this space. It's been a long time since I've made a video, like 6 months or something crazy like that. But I'm huge into this NFT space right now, and I think it's a very exciting space, but you need to know some things about it before you're gonna get into this. So the first thing I wanna do is go over what an NFT is. If you already know what an NFT is, click down the little chapter thing, like the next one over. It's probably like, I don't know, here-ish maybe? Here-ish? I don't know. To skip past this, if you already know what an NFT is. If you don't know what an NFT is, it is a crypto-based token, standing for non-fungible token. Now what the F is a non-fungible token? Well, fungibility is a new word that I learned when I was getting into this space. A fungible thing is basically a thing that's interchangeable for any other thing that is that thing. And a non-fungible thing is a unique thing. So let's do an example. A fungible thing. This is the same as this. There's nothing special about either of these. I could give you one of these and you could give me this back, and it's the same thing. These are fungible tokens. Now, if I was to take one of these and go and sign it and put all of that value from my signature on this is now a non-fungible thing. The value of this, first off, is not necessarily the same as this. It's probably worth less because my signature is like, who cares? But the important thing is this cannot be exchanged for this. Now imagine like Mark Cuban or Meet Kevin or someone signed that. That value is higher. These are no longer interchangeable with each other. This is a non-fungible token, but you know, it's paper, so kind of not really. That's the basic premise of fungible and non-fungible tokens on the crypto blockchain space. So now that you know that, let's talk about what everyone's getting wrong about NFTs. Where I'm hearing most people talking about NFTs wrong is where they're talking about NFTs like they're all the same. NFTs are nowhere near the same. When you talk about an NFT in terms of how the underlying digital asset is stored and attached to that contract, or how the royalties work, or how much the royalties are, or any other information like that, when you're talking about NFTs, and if you start to generalize those, like an NFT from Mintable versus OpenSea versus Rarible versus Nifty Gateway versus NBA Top Shot, and who knows what 10 other marketplaces have spun up in the time that it's taken me to record and edit and release this video, they're not the same. The only thing that's required to make it an NFT is that it is non-fungible. Most of these tokens follow the ERC 721 spec. And if you're a super nerd, I'll put a link in the description for that spec. It really does not define very many things. It does not define how the data is stored for the NFT. So for example, you buy a photo. It doesn't say where or how that photo is stored, or even if it has to remain accessible. It doesn't describe how to do royalties or even what the royalties should be. These are all unique. So when you talk about NFTs like they are all the same, you're basically talking about it like it's like an iPhone app. The only thing required of an iPhone app is that it runs on an iPhone. And as you know, all of your apps on your iPhone, they all work differently. Why does this matter? That everyone's talking about them the same and they're not necessarily the same. Well, this matters to you, the purchaser. Someone buying an NFT, you need to be able to dig in and understand the contract that you're actually buying. For example, we had a Blau NFT sell for, I don't know how much, a lot more than I was willing to pay for it. And since then, the underlying asset that was attached to that NFT has gone missing because there's no requirements on how to store the data, whether you have to keep the data around or anything like that. So you need to understand what's in the contract that you're buying. It's much like buying a stock. If you're gonna buy a stock, you need to understand the underlying business that you're buying, because otherwise you're just buying a piece of paper. And if you're just buying a piece of paper, there's no value in that. And if you're just buying an NFT to have an NFT and not understanding where the asset is stored, what blockchain the asset is on, you could end up in a real world of hurt. The other big thing that you need to understand is most of these NFTs, again, not all of them, most of these NFTs have royalties baked in. You should understand what these royalties look like, because if you're going into this from an investing perspective and you buy one of these NFTs with the intention of reselling it down the road, you need to know what these royalties are, because these are effectively trade commissions if you apply this sort of concept to the stock world. And some of these commissions can be very large. I've seen commissions up to 50% on some of these NFTs, which could massively eat into your margins if you're looking at this from an investing perspective. So there's no real easy way to understand what is in one of these contracts, and honestly, that kind of sucks right now. The best thing you can do is look up the contract on a website called Etherscan. I'll put a link in the description. It gives you all of the very low-level blockchain data. Some contract publishers like OpenSea actually publish their decompiled source code onto OpenSea so you can read that. Granted, you have to be fairly technically inclined to actually understand this, but at least it's a starting point. I'd love to see the space come out and be a little more open about the difference in the NFTs, and I'd love to see more standards come into the NFT space. We have 4 or 5 different token types just on Ethereum for NFTs now. We have the Flow blockchain, we're gonna have Cardano soon. It's all over the place, and I think it makes it very, very difficult for the average person to get into this space, and everyone wants to get into this space. Now, what am I doing with NFTs right now? I really haven't done much with them in terms of buying them. I've bought one NFT. I will link my NFT portfolio down below. I bought it from a friend of mine who is doing some really cool digital artwork on OpenSea right now, and I bought it mostly to support him and to go through the experience of purchasing it. Where I'm looking right now is on the software solution side of things. It's what I do. I'm a software guy. I think there's a lot of opportunity right now to make this space more accessible to the average consumer. Things like being able to purchase it without having a crypto wallet already set up. Use a credit card and a debit card. It's not very commonplace in this space, especially on the more solid blockchains like Ethereum. Things like, how do you know that you're buying from who you bought? There was an example that came up recently where deadmau5 announced a nifty gateway drop, and all of a sudden on OpenSea there was a deadmau5 account. Now there were sales coming out of that account, but later find out that was not deadmau5. They did shut that account down, and OpenSea does a pretty good job of staying on top of that, but right now it's solely up to the platform and their discretion on who can have what name, who can sell what, who can sell and not sell, and it's kind of the wild, wild west. So that's where I'm at on blockchain. I'm very excited about the future of the technology. That's where I'm at on NFTs. Blockchain, it's kind of what this video is. NFTs, I'm super excited about the future of NFTs and where they're going. If you want to hear more in-depth thoughts, check out the podcast, The Financial Illiterates. We just did a call with MethodBox and got really deep on NFTs, and I think it was a great conversation. And as always, if you like this video or think someone you know would like this video, please share it with them. It really helps a lot. Hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.